A great example of youngsters coming through from an Australian point of view in world sport and motorsport in particular is that at the pinnacle you've got Oscar Piastri and sadly we also had Jack Doohan, who's no longer with Alpine. The great thing that we had in Melbourne was the grid kids coming along, and that was an idea that was stolen essentially from the tennis because they had the ball kids. And so what do? We wanted the grid kids out there on the grid at Albert Park. And there's two young guys and a couple of young girls who are now finding their feet on the racing circuits around the world. There's James and Ava Anagnostiadis. James is racing karts in Europe very successfully. Ava's part of the Formula One Academy, along with a young girl called Joanne Ciconti. And then there's Brad Madgeman racing USF 2000 and a young guy called Lewis Francis who's racing in Europe. They're going to be the next generation because the posters that they have up on their wall are people like Oscar and Jack, in the same way that Jack had Mark Webber and Daniel Ricciardo and Mark probably had Alan Jones and Sir Jack Brabham.
That's
so
it.
aspiration and inspiration for future generations is what motorsports, what Formula One and MotoGP is all about. So we get the next Casey Stoner, we get the next Mick Doohan, we get the next Wayne Gardner racing around Phillip Island for many, many years to come.